Hello my darklings, it's me, Cherry. Thanks for coming back again. Today we're going to talk about the things I've been watching for September 2019. So let's go ahead and jump into it to talk about the shows. First up comes from Netflix. It is the original series Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. This is a prequel to the 1980s Dark Crystal film done by the Jim Henson Studio. And this prequel series is also done by the Jim Henson Studio. It is almost entirely filled with practical effects. The puppetry is also true to the original film, and they did an incredible job making us forget that we're watching puppets. The voice acting cast features a number of big names, including Taron Egerton, Natalie Emmanuel, Mark Hamill, Simon Pegg, Helena Bonham Carter, and tons of others. I highly recommend, if you check it out, just taking a brief look at who's voicing who, because you'll find some unexpected names on there. The show itself tells the great story leading up to the events of the 1980s film. The show does an excellent job of making us invest our time and emotions into this story of a world invaded by a hostile and alien force. The society that exists naturally on the planet is a matriarchal one, and it's always fun to watch those, I find, on screen because they're so different from the world we live in. The effects are excellent, the puppetry is excellent, the voice acting is excellent, every single thing about this series is excellent, and I highly recommend you check out Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance on Netflix right now. Next up is another Netflix original. It is the series Queer Eye. Seasons 1 through 4 are now streaming on Netflix. I had not checked out this reboot yet, but am really glad that I did. The show is sort of a reality format and features 5 gay experts who pick individuals each episode and help them improve their lives. So we have Anthony, the food expert, we have Tan, the fashion expert, we have Karamo, the culture expert, we have Bobby, the design expert, and Jonathan, the grooming expert. And they do a great job each week of helping improve the lives of the person that they pick for each episode. They not only will help them with, learning to cook or improving their cooking skills, working on their fashion and their style, they will also help improve different areas of their lives by maybe redoing their house or an area or a space that is important to them and what they do. Karamo does a good job of helping them improve themselves internally. So if they're dealing with an emotional issue, or they aren't dealing with an emotional issue, or have certain things in their lives that they could improve upon, the show does a fantastic job of making sure that they are helping this individual in a complete and fully rounded way. It is a great feel-good show. I highly recommend it. I was going through a little bit of a rough patch, and I found that just turning on an episode here and there really helped me to sort of pick up my spirit back up and keep moving on. So I highly recommend Queer Eye on Netflix. Third on our list is the Amazon Prime original show Carnival Row. This is an excellent new urban fantasy series based in Victorian England, and it features a format of an alternate past where during the Industrial Revolution there are certain fae races that are real and attempting to coexist with humans in one city. There's a backstory about their homeland and a war that's been going on, and a lot of different drama that sort of sets the scene for the primary plot. I do appreciate that they do a good job going into the backstory and talking about how things got to where they are, but the primary plot is that of a murder mystery. And they do a really great job of featuring the different fae races and the different cultures that go along with them and how they're struggling to coexist with humans. The main actors, Orlando Bloom and Cara Delevingne, do a fantastic job portraying their characters. And I don't want to give anything away, but if you enjoy urban fantasy, if you like period dramas with an urban fantasy twist, I highly recommend checking out Carnival Row on Amazon Prime. Last on our shows list comes to us from Hulu, but originally aired on AMC. It is the show Lodge 49, and this is a comedy drama that tells the story of two children who lose their father. He passes away and was nice enough to leave them with a huge chunk of debt. And it sort of tells the story of the aftermath. So the main character is played by Wyatt Russell, who is actually the child of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. And his life is sort of up in the air. He's a little bit of a vagabond, doesn't hold down a regular job. Ever since his dad died, things have sort of been really difficult. So he stumbles into this lodge, and it sort of tells the story of this secret society, sort of like a Masonic type situation. There's not only camaraderie that comes into it, but there is the additional lore that goes along with the society about alchemy and mysticism and things like that. So it tells the story of the two siblings and how they're struggling to find their feet after the death of their father. It also tells the story of Lodge 49, and how at first this world that you accept as reality slowly starts to shift during the first season, and you start to realize that maybe things aren't exactly what you thought they were. Season 1 is available to stream on Hulu right now. Season 2 is currently airing on AMC, and I highly recommend checking out Lodge 49. On our movie list, we're going to start with a Netflix original film. It is Invader Zim, Enter the Florpus. This was just released this year and features the original characters and artwork by Jonan Vasquez. And I was super excited to see that they were doing this. I love the series from back in the day, and I loved seeing the return of my favorite characters. Of course, Zim is there, Gur, my favorite, the loyal but quirky robot companion / slave, his nemesis Dib, and Dib's sister Gaz. Everybody you know and remember is here, and sort of tells a fun story after the events of this series. So if you're craving some Invader Zim nostalgia, I highly recommend checking out Invader Zim, Enter the Florpus, now streaming on Netflix. Next up on my movies list is the film BlackKklansman. It is currently available on HBO, but was in theaters in 2018. And this movie tells the story of a young man in the early 1970s who becomes the first African American cop on the Colorado Springs police force. The main character is played by John David Washington, but the film also features Adam Driver and Topher Grace. And the story it tells is the struggle of the man to fit into his new surroundings. Considering the political climate of the time, it was very difficult. Racial prejudice was still very prominent at that time. And so he comes onto the squad basically as a diversity hire, but soon decides that he wants to try to expose what's been going on with the Ku Klux Klan and their involvement and activities in his town. He decides to pick up the phone and become a member, forgetting, of course, the fact that he's an African American man and can't do anything in person. So comes to enlist the help of Adam Driver's character as his sort of faceplate to continue investigating what's going on with the Klan in his town. The story is poignant. The plot is riveting, The acting is excellent. It is a very timely film. At the end of the film, Spike Lee has compiled some of the current events that have been taking place ever since Donald Trump was elected president in America. And he's sort of using it as a reminder that racial equality does not yet exist in America. And there's still work to be done, and there's still a fight to be had against white supremacists and racists in America. So it's a very well done film. It's very sobering, and it hits home. It doesn't bring you too far down, but it's very real. And I really, really liked it. I thought it was timely and poignant. Third on my movies list can be viewed on Starz right now, and it is the 2012 film For a Good Time Call. This film features actresses Lauren Miller and Ari Grainer, and they play two down-on-their-luck New York women who find themselves shoved together in a living situation due to their circumstances, and they decide to start a phone sex line. They come together through the help of their gay best friend, played by Justin Long, and this is a fabulous comedy. The acting is wonderful. The two women are polar opposites, but end up forming this beautiful alliance and this beautiful friendship. I would say that it's a love story, but it's not a love story in the traditional sense. If you're looking for a fun comedy that's light and easy to digest, I recommend checking out For a Good Time Call, now available on Starz. Last up on our movie list is the 1985 classic Weird Science, currently available on Starz. I didn't realize that I had never seen this in its entirety before, but so it is. So I decided to check it out from start to finish. The film features actress Kelly LeBrock, actors Anthony Michael Hall and Elan Mitchell-Smith, and tells the story of two teenage boys who decide to create the perfect woman with their computer, because of course in the 80s you could totally do that, and she basically proceeds to fix everything that's wrong with their teenage lives. If you can get past the typical 1980s sexist tropes, you can really enjoy this film. It is light, it is fun, it is a classic 80s comedy, and I do recommend it. So definitely check out Weird Science, now available on Starz. So thank you so much for sticking with me. Please feel free to comment down below, leave any questions you might have. If you'd like to see more from me, subscribe. Don't forget to tap that bell, and please stay lovely. I'll see you next time.